Welcome to today's session. In today's session, we are going to discuss about group by query. Now let's look at an example. Now we have two tables here. We have an invoice table and customer table. Now suppose I want to find out how many orders are placed by each customer. Okay, how many orders are placed by each customer. Now you can see here the invoice number and the customer code. So if you see customer 11, he has placed two orders, and customer 14 is also placed two orders. Customer 12 has placed one order. Customer 15 has placed one order, and customer 18 has placed one order. So we have to find out how many orders are placed by each customer. So if you want to do an aggregate, like whether you want to count the number of customers or you want to find out minimum, maximum or average, okay, or you want to find out a sum. So if you want to find out an average, if you want to find out an aggregate, and you want that aggregate not for a particular customer, but you want it for every customer, or for each or for every. So if you see the word for each or for every, then it means you have to do group by. So always group by means you will be required to do an aggregation operation, and that aggregation operation will be for all, for every. Okay, in that case you have to apply group by. So here I want to know how many orders are placed by every customers. Okay, so I have to group the customer code and I want to count the number of orders placed by the customer. So let's see how to do this query. So now let's take the invoice table. Okay, now to write the query, you need three keywords: select, from, and where. Now what you want to display, you have to give it in select. Now what we want to display, we want to display the customer code and how many orders are placed by the customer code. So it means you want to count. Okay, so count. Either you can give star or invoice, will give you the same result. Okay, either you can count your invoice number or you can count star, will give you the same result. From which table? The table name is invoice table. Where what is the condition? Here we don't have a condition, we have to use group by. Okay, so we will write group by cust code. Okay, so now when you execute this, you can see here how many orders are placed by each customer. Okay, so we got how many orders are placed by each customer. Now suppose I want the customer name instead of customer code. Then customer name is available in the customer table. So I have to use a join and then I have to do a group by. Because here in our output we got only the customer code. Suppose we want the customer name is available only in the customer table. So you can see the customer table here. Okay, so customer name is available in the customer table. So here you can see customer code is common between invoice and the customer table. So here you can join using the customer code. So the same query, now I'm going to convert, just put a comma and write customer, and now there is a condition, you have to give the join condition. Okay, so invoice dot customer code is equal to customer dot customer code. Yes, now here not group by customer code, because in our output we need customer name. Okay, you can choose whether you want the last name or the first name. So let me select the last name. Okay, so whatever you write in the select, the same attribute should appear in the group by. So here you have to write customer underscore last name. Okay, now you can see the output here. You can see the name of the customer and how many orders are placed by the customer. Okay, so this is a join with group by query. Suppose here you want to see only the customer who has placed or number of orders more than 2. Okay, so how many are more than 2? Only one person, that is Dune, has greater than 2. Okay, so I want to see only the details of customer whose order is greater than 2. So now here I have a condition, and the condition is on this aggregate, on the count field. Okay, so if you are using group by and you have a condition and the condition is on aggregate, then you have to write this using having. Okay, so you have to write having count invoice number greater than 2. Okay, so if you have a condition and the condition is on the aggregate and you are using a group by, then you have to write that condition only using having. You cannot write the condition in the where clause. Okay, so now you can see in the output only one customer is displayed because he is only having the number of orders greater than 2. Okay, so let's see one more example on the same group by. Okay, let's take the vendor table. Suppose you want to know how many vendors are from each state. So here you can see the states, right? You can see TN, FL, TN, KY, GA, GA, TN. Yes. So I want to know how many vendors are from each state. So I want to know for every state how many vendors are there. So if you want to do an aggregate and that aggregate you want to do it for more than one value, yes, you have to do for more than one value, right? So you want for state T and how many vendors are there, state FL, how many vendors are there. So if you want to do it for more than one value, then you have to use group by command. So here you have to group the related states together and you need to count. Okay, so related states, so if you see all TN will be brought together. So how many TNs you have? You have 3 TN. All GA will be brought together. How many GAs are there? 2 GAs are there. Then KY will be brought together. Only one KY is there. Okay, so the similar states will be brought together and then it will count how many vendors are there in each state. Okay, so this is a query. Now so you have to write select. These are the 3 keywords will be there in any query. Select, from, and where. Now what you want to select? Here you want to display for each state how many vendors are there. So you have to display the state. Yes. Then you have to display the count. Okay. So here I want to count the number of vendors. So either you can count your v underscore code or you can give count star. It will give you the same answer. Now from which table? From the vendor table. Now do you have any conditions here? Suppose you have a condition v underscore order should be S. So suppose your v order should be S. Then there is a condition and the condition is not on an aggregate. The condition is on attribute. So if there is a condition on the attribute, then you have to write it in the where clause. So let me write v underscore order equal to S. Okay, so if there is a condition and the condition is not on the aggregation, then you have to write it in the where clause as usual. Okay, now let's group by. After where, you have to write group by v underscore state. Okay, group by v underscore state. Now you execute the query. You can see the counts for each state. Suppose you want to display only for state whose count is greater than 1, then count is greater than 1. So the condition is on the aggregate. So you have to write it using having. So where we have to write the having should be written after group by. So here you have to write having, okay, having count star greater than 1. Okay, having count star greater than 1. So you will see only one state here. Suppose you have more than, suppose you want to see the states which is greater than or equal to 1 also. Okay, now you will see all the 3 states. Now you want to order this result in ascending or descending order, then you have to write a order by clause. The order by clause should be always written at the end. So you have to write order by B underscore state. Okay, so if it is descending, you have to write descending. If it is ascending, no need to write anything because by default it is ascending. Okay, so now I'll give descending here. Now when you execute, you can see it's in the descending order. Okay, so this is the order in which you have to write a group by query. So first you have to write a where clause, then you have to write a group by clause, then you have to write having, at the last you have to write order by. Okay, let's see one more example for group by. Suppose you want to find out the sum of price ordered by every customer. So I want to know for every customer, I want to know what is it sum, okay, sum of price ordered by the customer. Now if you see the line table, you have the invoice number and the price. So now I want to sum up the price. Now I want for each customer, right? So I will not know which customer has placed this invoice because in this line table you don't have a customer code. Okay, you just have the invoice number. So I will not know which invoice was made by which customer. So for that, you have to join with the invoice table. So in invoice table, you have the invoice number and the customer code. So first you have to join invoice table and inline table, and the attribute which is common between the two table is the invoice number. So once the table is joined, now you have to group by the customer code and you have to sum the price. Okay, so let's do the code now. So I have to join two tables here. So let me write select from and where. Okay, so now what I want to display, whatever you want to display, you can give it in select. I want to display the customer code, comma, I want to sum the unit price. Okay, the price is available in the line table. You can see the line table, line underscore price. Okay, so let me write here sum of line underscore price from line table, comma, invoice table. Okay, in the where clause you have to write the joining condition. So line dot, the line invoice number is common between two tables, so I will write line dot invoice number is equal to invoice dot invoice number. Okay, now after where you have to write the group by. So group by, definitely you have to write what attribute to write in the select. Okay, so group by cust underscore code. Okay, now you can see the sum of price. Now let's execute. You can see for every customer code, you can see what is the sum of price. Okay, suppose you want to display only for customer who has purchased more than 200, then you have a condition. So condition, if you have a condition and the condition is on aggregate, then you have to write it in having. So having sum of line underscore price greater than 200. Okay, so now you will have only a customer that is greater than 200. Okay, so suppose you want greater than 100. You can see these are the customers greater than 100. Okay, now if you want to arrange in the order of the sum, you want to arrange it in ascending order of sum, then at the last you can write order by sum line underscore price. Okay, since I did not give anything, it is ascending order. Okay, so now you can check the result of the query. You can see the lowest place will be in the first position. Okay, okay, so what if I don't give the attribute here in the display? See here, if I don't give this cust code in the display, You will not get any error when you execute the code, but your code will not have any meaning. See, your code will not have any meaning. Okay? So it will just display the sum, but you will not know which customer is having which sum of price. So you will not have any meaning if you miss the group by attribute in the select. But what if you give the cust code here in the select, and in group by you give some other attribute? Suppose I give here line dot invoice number. What if I give a different attribute in group by? You can see there is an error. So the rule is whatever attribute that comes in the select, the same attribute should come in group by. Suppose you have two attributes in select, both the two attributes should come in the group by. Okay, so this is a hard and the fast rule. You have to give on what attribute you are grouping by. Okay, and that attribute should come in the select to get a meaningful result. That's all for today. Thank you for listening. We will meet in another session.